Welcome to a Fallout 76 episode. Later this year, we can expect expeditions to be added to the Fallout 76 map. And what it is we'll be able to be transported to a different location via a vehicle, similar to what they did in Fallout 4 with Far Harbor. And with these new locations, we'll have an all-new map and a whole new area to explore. But I like to think that where we're going to go for the first one is more than likely the Pitt. Now, this is complete and utter speculation on my part that we will travel to the Pitt or Pittsburgh. But hear me out. We're currently in the year 2102, and we are 25 years after the bombs drop. Now, the Pitt or Pittsburgh that we visited in Fallout 3, if those of you played that took place in the year 2277. So that would be 175 years from Fallout 76 into the future. We were at the Pitt in Fallout 3. Now, I will eventually get around to showing you some footage of what the Pitt looks like, and it's not pretty. What it looks like 175 years from now. I always wanted to have a nuke zone on this map, a permanent nuke zone, not something that's temporary like dropping a queen, any of the nukes from the nuke silos, but a dedicated nuke zone. Like in Fallout 4, we had the glowing sea. Extremely challenging. You know, it took a lot to get through it. So my journey begins here at Foundation. Now, as you're about to find out, most of the settlers here at Foundation all came from the Pit. So let's go interview a few of these people and find out what their story is. The first person I'm going to visit is Paige. Paige can be found beneath the elevator down in the, I guess, sub-basement where they're doing all the water purification. So I asked him, what can you tell me about everyone? And he said there's not much to tell. Everybody knows what they can do around here. Even Davy, he's a kid, can be expected to help out. Now, he wasn't much help, but if you look around in his area, you'll find a couple of holotapes which tell more of his story. So just look around and let's find the first holotape. And it should be... Oh, goodness. It's been a while since I've been down. It's in his room here. There it is, on the edge of the desk. Let's have a listen.
Well, we've arrived. We're finally here. It's a damn sight better than the Pit. Hopefully we can make a better go of things. Now that folks won't be afraid to start families. Some of us forgot what green living things looked like after the war. The only green we saw was the poison lingering in the air of the capital when we left on the last train out of Union Station. There's so much energy to build when you finally think things might be able to last. It's a home. A real home. Finally.
So the group that eventually made it to Foundation traveled from the Pit, Pittsburgh, to the capital, Washington, D.C., and then took the last train out of Union Station and ended up here in Appalachia. Now there's another person down here at the same location, and that is Jen. So let's do a quick interaction and see if she has any information.
Oh, I joined up with them north of here a while back. They seem to be from all over this region. My family used to live in what's now the Capital Wasteland.
So Jen was also from the Capital Wasteland and joined up with the Foundation group a little bit north of Appalachia. Well, let's see if there's anyone else we can speak to. Let's talk quickly with Samuel. We know he's a vault dweller.
Hey, fellow dweller. How's it going? I came from a vault just like you. You've never heard of it. It's really far away and hidden. Like, really hidden. I don't even know how to get to it. Like, at all.
So you can either speculate he was an escapee from the Brotherhood of Steel, or he could have been one of the outcasts, one of the outcast Brotherhood of Steel members. And there is one last person here at Foundation. Actually, two. And the last two people are Derek and Elsie. and Derek has an amazingly wonderful accent from Pittsburgh.
Appalachia's a strange place. So much land, good land. But it's got its challenges. Guess nowhere's really good to raise a family anymore.
Where are you from?
Pittsburgh, born and bred. My roots went back there for 5 generations. Had to leave though. It's just don't go north. Trust me.
I'm tired.
We get by. Better than that, she's coming here. Paige kept us all together through some rough times. It's good to set down some roots. I haven't seen Davy this happy since, well, ever. Kids are crazier as they, you know.
So the pit must be in pretty bad shape if we are warned not to go north. So there's another hint as to what the conditions are like there.
You like it in Appalachia?
Davy
I
couldn't
really
do
like it,
much
especially
interaction
the
with
fireflies.
him, at least nothing on his history. And let's interview his mother, Elsie.
Have you seen Davy? That son of mine can disappear faster than a corpse in a Wendigo cave.
Best way to get to know someone is either to fight them or share a meal. I recommend sharing a meal. Samuel is one of our newer citizens. Maybe you can be his friend. He's from a vault like you.
If you see anything lurking around outside of town, let me know. I need some target practice.
So she doesn't give us any more information, but on this countertop here is a note entitled Elsie's Story.
Evening.
I'm not much of a writer, but Derek won't do it, so I have to. Davy deserves to have it written down. Derek and I met in the pit. He was stuck building things for them. I was one of their enforcers. I was already hating that job, and he was hating his, but we agreed we both hated the pit. But it wasn't until Davy came along that we decided to do something about it. Derek hates guns, but he used one that day, never hit anything he was aiming at. I had to put 8 of them down to get us out of there. I came out with a cracked rib and a bullet graze on my scalp. I'm proud to say that Derek never got a scratch. After I ambushed the hunting party they sent after us, they must have decided we weren't worth the pain. Never saw another pit raider again. Now we're here in Foundation. We were always on the move before, never staying anywhere more than a week. That's no way to raise a child. Foundation has changed all that. It's changed all of that for you, Davy. So that was from Elsie, and she was one of the enforcers at the pit. Now, when you get to the year 2277 in Fallout 3, they were to the point of kidnapping people and putting them into slavery so they could work the steel mill there. So it sounds like they both had separate jobs and that it was time for her to leave. Because she was a pit raider, they did send a hunting party after her. And I almost forgot Ward. He's the second leader of Foundation. Now, he confesses here, when I first got to Foundation, I hid my raider history. I was ashamed of the things I'd done, and I was afraid I would be punished in my new community. Now, we don't know if he was a raider who defected from, say, the crater, or whether he was one of the raiders or pit raiders that came from the pit. So, for the sake of argument, I'm going to say he escaped with them, and he was also a pit raider. Now let's take a jump 175 years into the future and give you guys a look at what the pit looked like. So here we are at the entrance to the pit in Fallout 3, and as you can see, Pittsburgh pretty much took a direct hit. So there is a lot of ruin and destruction and a fully irradiated area. So let's have a look at some of the locations.
Hey, if it isn't Quick Draw.
As you progress through this DLC, you end up here at Haven. It is the headquarters of the Raider pit boss named Ashur. So let's go have a chat with him. So you have a choice to either join with Asher and stop the slave revolt, or rebel against and take the cure.
I knew I could trust you, and I wasn't disappointed. Werner's been stopped. The workers are returning to their rightful place. The pit has a bright future ahead of it, and so do you. Now that Marie's back, we have a chance at curing the disease that's been ravaging the pit since the bombs. Without it killing our kids, we can grow like a real city. No more bringing in slaves. No more forced labor. Things can get better. It's taken me a lot of work to rebuild this city. With your help, it's finally going to have a chance. Right now, nothing. Until we can reproduce a treatment from Marie, they'll have to keep working. Otherwise, this city falls apart. But once we do have a cure, things will be different. We won't need to kidnap people for our city. We'll be able to grow naturally. Until then, this is the way it has to be. It's just what has to be done. You've kept the city in one piece and put a stop to Werner's plans. Yeah, I guess you've earned one. As a full citizen of the pit, you'll have full access to the ammo press in the mill. It's how I keep my soldiers well armed. So make good use of it. And I think Sandra's made some progress with the cure. So here's a little something to help with radiation. That's up to you. We'll keep working on the cure and keep the city running. You're free to come and go as you like. Of course, you can help out at the mill by collecting metal from the steel yard. It helped lighten the load on the workers. And if you want to work on Sandra's good side, you can always bring her toys from her. This thing? It's a relic from my time with the Brotherhood of Steel decades ago. It's been through so much that they'd hardly recognize it as one of theirs. A little like me, come to think of it. Not in the slightest. During the Scourge, we looted the pit and left the rest of it to rot. I was just a dumb convert who got stuck here afterwards. See, beneath it all, the Brotherhood's just lazy. It's easier to loot a dying city than to work to bring it back to life. So that's what they did. They're so obsessed with the technology of the past, they don't care what needs to be done for today and tomorrow. It takes real hard work to rebuild and run a city. But there isn't a machine to do it for them, so the Brotherhood isn't interested. Good riddance.
And with the other ending, the ending I really chose, you take the cure, Marie, the baby, away from her mother, Sandra.
Oh, I wasn't expecting Asher to let you into the lab. I'm Sandra, and if I know my husband, he's already made you an offer to join us, right? So you're here to see our little miracle, aren't you? This is my daughter, Marie. She can be a handful, but my little angel is going to save the city. Pull your head out of your ass and you might realize they're one and the same, idiot. Believe it or not, she's both. My daughter appears to have a naturally acquired immunity to any form of mutation. Basically, she won't turn into one of the trogs, or a ghoul or anything else, and by studying her, we can keep that from happening to others too. Oh no, these tests are perfectly safe. In fact, between the crib and her uncanny health, she's probably the safest child in the world. Asher and I would never risk her health. And if that means it takes longer to develop a full cure, then, well, everyone else can wait. And you really think the slaves can develop a cure more efficiently than I can? Don't be an idiot. And if they so much as pluck one hair off her head, I'll be sure to pluck one eye out of each of theirs. So maybe you should just put her back right this instant and tell those miserable bastards that they can wait until their goddamn turn. No, I wouldn't. But our snipers could pop the eyes out of your head without even ruffling her hair. Marie's going to be using them as playthings when you're long dead, you son of a bitch. You think you can get away with this? Every raider in this town will be after your head to bring her back. Come to your senses, have you? You're a goddamn dead woman! There you are!
So in this playthrough, I made the opposite choice. I chose to take baby Marie from her parents and freeing the slaves. But before we leave, let's take a look at some of these entries in the computer. An epidemic of the environs around the pit, which I have named troglodytic degeneration contagion, appears to be the result of intensely concentrated radiation, but the unique toxins and pollutants in the pit cause it to be far more pervasive. Anyone living in TDC active areas experience skin lesions after a few weeks. And what happens after exposure, when you leave the area about a month or so away from infected areas, you return to being a healthy adult, which would explain why the people at Foundation don't have these lesions. But it also alters your brain chemistry in a manner that produces a number of psychological effects. Even if the subject remains physically healthy, they'll need to recover even more. So until they have degenerated into this bestial state that we saw earlier called a trog, no subjects have ever been recovered from full degeneration. Although wishful rumors persist, the trog retaining memories and recognizes the faces of loved ones. More tragic, however, is the fact that children born in these areas have a virtually 100% degeneration rate. So it looks like the little kid, Daniel, managed to escape from all of that. And as this relates to baby Marie, it appears that this immunity that she's carrying onto other forms of radiation-induced diseases, from radiation sickness to larger mutations, such as the all-too-common development of a sixth toe. Who could use a sixth toe? Anyway, attempts to isolate these effects have been going slow due to the part of the delicate nature of testing. Prospects exist for duplication, but the unique and delicate nature of the subject requires utmost care in testing. And there you have it. This is a bit of a summation of what is going on, at least in the future of the pit. So it's going to be even worse if we journey there 175 years before and all that. Yeah, so this was my speculation. I had a great time doing the video. I'm hoping that we'll figure out where the first expedition will go, but I'm definitely putting my 2 cents in that it's going to be the pit. Thanks so very much for watching, and I'll see you out in the wasteland.